I'm 100 miles and riding. I'm 1,000 feet of climbing. Never going back. Never coming down. Never going back. Never coming down.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Snowball Show. It's been like what, 3 weeks, something like that. I don't know. I've lost count of the time. It's lockdown. It's everything.
This is where I do the air horns.
Yeah. We should be doing those for you, Chelsea. Welcome on for your first Snowball Show experience. If you don't
Thank
know
you
who
for
I am, I'm
having me.
Ducky. I've been here a few times. I've done this rodeo multiple times before. Chelsea, though, first time on the show. How you going?
Long-time viewer. Listen, I've been tuning in since the pilot and finally made it onto the show. So thank you for having me.
She passed the very, very lengthy audition process, thousands and thousands of nominees, and made it through that one special spark. You would notice there is a notable absence of two in the void of the Snowball Show heart. Judge and Nico both taken this week off. Haven't heard much of them recently. The cell communication went down, but last time we heard, they were hunting down Twitch as a private investigator for figuring out why Dr. Disrespect was banned. Still don't know, haven't heard from them for a while, so I'm starting to get a little bit nervous, but hopefully they'll be back for next week. Please wish those guys well, and hopefully they haven't been kidnapped by Emmett somewhere and kept in Twitch's basement.
Nico did tweet out the other day that he found out the reason why, but he couldn't talk about it. He couldn't talk about it.
He
So
couldn't talk about it.
I
Oh,
guess you're gonna have to tune in next week when we have the story.
yeah, that's going to be the way to go about it. Anyways, we will also be joined by special guest, caster extraordinaire Vandie. Later in the show, she'll be coming on in about 5 minutes. But before she comes on, I'm going to run through a bit of what's happening in esports. Got a bit of news going on. Bit of a lighter flavor this week. Try and mellow out some of the stuff that you've been seeing on social media. Let's start with a topic that everyone likes to laugh at. Donald Trump. As us Australians love laughing at Donald Trump. And he's
Yeah.
banned on Twitch. It was like speedrunning bans on Twitch. It was like an hour or something into his protest.
Twitch has been going through the ringer this month. Honestly, it's been highs and it's been low lows. So obviously, with the announcement of Mixer, just puffing out of existence, just being like peace out. They were probably like having like the peak celebration, having lots of fun, being like woo, the streamers came out, and then now
Champagne.
all these champagne's all around, and now all these bans or permanent bans for these allegations against some streamers, and it's like, whew. And then now Dr. Disrespect. It's been a pretty crazy month for them.
Yeah, it has. And, we've got a lot of. And when you're looking at the politics side of things as well, Donald Trump, Stephen Molyneux also got banned within an hour of streaming. There's been like, I saw Slash's tweets on it this morning, and it's like any percent speed runs of who can get banned fastest on Twitch. So yeah, it's definitely a space to keep an eye on. The streamer space is very, very interesting to analyze in the last couple of months when you look at the DMCA takedowns, when you look at all the allegations of abuse that's been going on within the gaming community, and the backlash and the fallout from that. It's still very much early days in that case, so keep your eyes on that in the coming weeks to see what else comes from it. On a slightly lighter note, there is a rival to League of Legends coming out made by the Pokemon Company.
It's a statement.
Pokemon
That
Unite.
is a statement and a half. A rival to League of Legends. Wow. Yes, keep going.
Okay, sorry. It's a rival to Dota.
Okay. Okay,
It's
fair.
growing past
Absolutely
League.
fair.
Yeah. But yeah,
Um,
Dota Unite's come out. There's also been a number of other, oh, not Dota Unite, Jesus Christ, Pokemon Unite. My brain's fried. Has come out, as well as a bunch of other Pokemon games. What are your takes on that, Chelsea? Who are you going to be maining in Pokemon Unite?
actually, before I do answer that question, I really want to know whoever is like tuning into the stream right now, what was your first starter Pokemon? So like first game, first starter Pokemon, or like preference of like fire, water, or grass type, and
Yep.
then I'll go. So my first game was Ruby. I am a
Yep.
baby, and Torchic was my first starter Pokemon. So I have like a soft spot in my heart for fire types. I love them, and I'm actually like, I know that there's been negative sentiment towards Pokemon Unite, but like I actually think it might it might end up being okay. Like the elements are there, so you've got obviously the evolutions of the Pokemon characters, and then you've got items, and then they just look cute.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah,
What
I
more can you?
agree. Well, I'll run through my quick Pokemon. It's a very brief Pokemon background. I played Gen 5 and Gen 5 only. I played Black and White too. The starter Pokemon was Snivy.
Hmm.
But I did actually run stories with all three, Tepig, Snivy, and Oshawott. So I'm very excited to see what comes of that. I've always been a MOBA guy. I love the strategy behind MOBAs, and this one looks to have some unique things about it that really excite me from a League of Legends perspective. It's something that I've always looked for in MOBAs when you look at like HOTS and Smite, what they could have done to the genre, where they've gone now.
But I've
Who knows
always
what Pokemon Unite could bring?
exactly, and I've always said, Duck, there's only three things that are guaranteed in life, and that is death, taxes, and Pokemon chilling out their beloved, beloved franchise. And I can see in the chat now, I'm getting a little bit of slack from the mods, no less. Thank you, mods, about my first Pokemon game being Ruby. But like, I don't know if I can swear on this show, but fuck you guys. This is like the speed run of whoever can get kicked off, whatever host can get kicked off
Yeah, the
of our
host speed
esports
run. We
servers.
talked about Twitch streamers getting banned. Now we're talking about you.
Now it's guests.
Yeah. Well, before we jump into the guests, we've got one topic to cover in terms of if you've been living under a rock in Oceanic Esports, get yourself out from under it because there is something big starting tomorrow. Chelsea's got it written, like 1/4 of it written across her shirt. The Order Valorant Open, the Oceania event for the Valorant Ignition series, is kicking off tomorrow. 220 plus teams, 3 weeks of action, and eventually at the end of it, $10,000 will be given away. It's a very, very exciting time for Oceanic Valorant. We're seeing rosters starting out early. The first major roster signing was with ExoClan. They picked up a conglomeration of players who had been around the top of the first few weeks of Oceanic Valorant. Dizzy, Iron, Crunchy, Senpai Madara. They're all really talented players. I'm really excited to see how that roster goes. There's also been a lot of guys going LFT. I noticed Rice, who is playing under the Mind Freak banner in terms of a streamer, has gone LFT. Noz and Sign from the Overwatch community have both gone LFT. It's really exciting to see how the Valorant esports landscape is shaping up in Australia. I'm actually very excited for it.
And I'm really excited because, especially more so in the past few years, esports, I'm going to call it a boom. A lot of people getting into esports for the first time, whether that was Overwatch League, and then you have this new franchise coming out from like this giant, nice plug.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you've got this like new game coming out and it's going like, head first into the esports scene and people are going to be able to watch it from the beginning and they're already establishing like quite a scene in Oceania, which is great. I'm so excited to see it. I'm so excited to see which orgs start to develop their own team, and I'm especially excited to see how this weekend goes because I know that I have entered into the Ignition series. um, you'll see me with that $10,000 prize pool. Oh, sorry, the $5,000 first prize. um, stay
let's
tuned.
let's hope let's hope whoever you main in Valorant is better than your Doc in Siege. Let's just let's just hope that happens. I've,
Um, ooh, it's not.
yeah,
Spoiler.
yeah.
It's not.
It's already getting a bit frosty over here.
The
Like, it's
great
really
thing
good.
about the great thing about Valorant is you can't team kill. Oh, you can team kill, but it's very hard. It's not as easy as playing Doc and just, taking out your sidearm, confusing it with your stim pack, and just taking down people on your team left, right, center.
True story, did happen.
Did
Anyways, that's
happen.
enough about our stories. We've got a guest with very, 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 very many stories throughout her storied career in esports as a caster. She also now works with Legacy as a stream manager. It is the one and only Vandie. How you going, Vandie?
I'm good, thanks, guys. How are you?
Absolutely wonderful on this Thursday evening. Great to see you. How have you been going?
Yeah, it's great to see you guys as well. It's been a busy day. We're prepping for all the Valorant stuff as you were kind of touching base on tomorrow. So very excited about that, but also just sneaking in some Valorant and streaming that while I can on the side. So it's been a busy day.
I have to ask before we get into like your story and how amazing it is and how talented you are. Sorry, I'm trying not to like fangirl here. How have you been finding Valorant? Like, I want to know like what you're loving and what you're not maybe enjoying.
Can we just say we need to get rid of Rays? Let's just get delete Rays hashtag trending already. Like, no.
Which way am I going? I'm going this way. No, I'm going this
Excuse
way.
me?
I've just looked at the camera.
We need to get rid of it. No, but seriously, what I've really been enjoying about the game, that it's something fresh for me. Who played Counter Strike back when it was like 1.6, so like, decades ago, right? And then Counter Strike Global Offensive came out, and I was like, I just can't compete. Like, I haven't played it. Like, there was kind of that void where it felt very scary to try and jump into something that has been established for as long as like Counter Strike had been. And I was bored of Overwatch essentially because it was more for like the casual gamer. I feel like Valorant really scratches that itch of you can be casual but also competitive at it if it kind of, you know. Always been a Riot Games fangirl. League of Legends has been like my life. Did some casting with that as well. But I've always enjoyed FPSs. So Valorant was just really cool because it was just like a fresh new take on it. They took all the learnings from like Overwatch, CS, made it have a baby, and they're like, this is Valorant. This is what you get. And it's kind of cool to see like Riot really just like try something new and do pretty well with it in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree. I've been having a lot of fun with Valorant, and I'm the same as you. I'm an absolute Riot Games fanboy. I've been playing League of Legends. Some would say since I've been in nappies, but if I was in nappies at 9, that would be rather inconvenient.
Oh,
But I mean,
that is
we've
not
got
the
that
show
Overwatch
for
rep.
this.
I've got the Diva chair. You've got
Yeah,
the
we've got the Overwatch
League.
League. Like, yeah, we've got it going. I'm very, very happy with how I've enjoyed Valorant so far at the start. You did mention you were playing 1.6 though, so you have a lot of history in gaming.
I'm old. Everyone thinks I'm like 10, and I'm like, I'm actually old.
Wait, you're
I
10?
hope
We've
you're
got to
not.
turn the stream off. Twitch is going to come after us.
I'm
Oh my
trying
God,
to
we're
get a commission
next.
slip. Yeah. I'm quite lucky that luckily, age and genetics has been working for me so far.
Yeah.
Have you been
Well,
playing any ranked?
Yeah, so actually I've been fiddling around with ranked. I'm not too highly ranked, but I placed gold 3 and then today I hit plat 1. Let's go. I want to try aim for diamond. Don't know if I can get it, but gonna try aim for it. Always best to aim high.
always got to keep those goals in mind.
That's it, yeah.
Like,
Let's.
I'm not gonna lie. I ended in bronze 3, got to silver 1. So
Let's
round of
go.
applause.
I
Progress,
was really
everyone.
scared. I thought I'd be iron because I played the closed beta. Of course, it's
Mhm.
all NA servers, and I'm like, I guess it didn't give me a good indication, but I got used to it. And as you do, back in League of Legends, originally we only had NA servers, and
Oh.
then so I was like, I'm gonna be iron, or I'm like, okay, maybe if we don't factor, I'm like, I'm gonna be bronze, and then it placed me in gold, and I was like, oh. Wow, lag really accounted for so much more. So when I was like, haha, I died because of lag, I was actually being serious.
Yes. Oh, I remember the day when Oceanic servers came to League of Legends. I came home from school and I was like, yes, finally I don't have to play 220 ping anymore. It's only 60.
Did you find that you were just queuing up your abilities too fast? So people that
Yeah.
know League of Legends, understand Morgana has this bind and pull combo. The ping was so fast that I was casting the pull while the bind was still traveling. So like I was like, what is this? Like I'm buffering this stuff too quick. Like it was just this whole new playing field. And it was
I
so
played,
weird.
yeah. I played a lot of Thresh. I had to readjust very quickly.
I can
Like
imagine.
it was very, very rough, that readjustment. Let's go. Let's talk about your start in esports. You obviously mentioned that you played CS 1.6 when you were a lot younger.
Yeah.
What has your journey into esports been, not only as a player but as a caster?
My journey to esports has been quite interesting, really. So I've always just been a gamer, essentially, even since I was young. Like I started on like a Sega Genesis that my dad picked up from like a flea sale, essentially, and then so always just loved games. And it was so funny because I remember my mom literally just being like, "Why did you get this for her?" Now she's never going to study. My dad's like, "Don't worry, she'll grow out of it. Never grew out of it." But
Joke's
managed to
on
make
you.
a
It's not
career.
just a phase, Mom.
It's not just a phase.
But made a career out of it, luckily. So now my mom is placated at least. But back then she was just like, "What have you done? Seriously, my dad just blacklisted." Um, but yeah, always been a gamer. Never really was interested in casting. Never even really enjoyed esports that much. Like I was kind of like, yeah, it's fun watching other people play, but I could just play the game, right? Like I didn't really see why I should be doing any of that or like why people got so into it. But I suppose what really changed for me was I was fiddling around with a game, a MOBA called Heroes of the Storm. So it took like what I really enjoyed out of League of Legends back when the average game was like 45 minutes to an hour, which was like decades as a kid, I swear. And my mom would be like, "Get off the computer." I'm like, "I've literally played one game." She's like, "You've been there for like 3 hours." I'm like, "Well, we had to find the game.
Mom, I
and we
I
had
can't
to
can't
play
pause the game,
Yeah.
Mom.
Always my mom, right? But so this crazy MOBA called Heroes of the Storm, and it was just literally like 30 minutes was considered a long game, and it was just like all out fighting, experience was shared, all this really fun stuff. And there was a guy I remember who was looking for people to help him cast like a community cup. And it was really funny because my friends have always been like Atlas. Like he was one of my good friends back in the day, and he actually approached me originally to be like, "Yo, we should cast some League together." And I'm like, "I want to play, man." But like that always kind of stuck with me because it's like it's such a waste. You would be so good at it. Like I could see you being so good at this. And so like that always stuck with me in the back of my mind. And as you kind of grow up, I guess like, young players, I don't have the reaction speeds of a 13-year-old, unfortunately, or a 16-year-old. So I'm just kind of like, I'd be interested in trying it, put my hand up, tried that community cast, loved it. And it's just kind of been there since. So it's been about 3.5 years since then. I've casted a whole range of titles apart from Heroes of the Storm, but Heroes of the Storm I did spend a good 2 years on in terms of my career.
Yeah, I remember the first time I played Heroes of the Storm. It was actually part of a Overwatch challenge. Like I think if you had played in game, you unlocked Hero of the Storm cosmetics in for like Overwatch characters. And I remember playing it and comparing it to League, and I had so much more fun playing Heroes of the Storm compared to League. And I think it was just purely because like it was more fast paced. I think it's easier to pick up. And I've always enjoyed watching it. I always found it like easier to watch as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like you
Agreed.
said, you've been in the game for 3 years. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years?
Oh, interesting. I actually thought I was going to retire from casting, like officially retire and maybe just do like fun community stuff here and there, or maybe just events where people needed talent. I kind of gave up on casting because once Heroes of the Storm pulled the plug on their competitive landscape, it was called Heroes Global Championship. Kind of like the whole mixer plug, the way they handled it. It was just randomly a tweet before Christmas. And they're like, "Sorry,
Yeah.
this isn't happening anymore." We're like,
That
what?
was screwed. That was so screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So we really just had to adjust. And then I went back to League and I definitely really enjoyed playing League. But then casting, I found like it just wasn't the same for me. Exactly what you kind of said. Like I love playing League, but in terms of casting, there's just so much dead air where you really just have to fill it with knowledge of like teams, the players. It's just like a totally different casting style from anything that I've ever done. And like you need to live and breathe League. And I unfortunately wasn't that. I was like, I love playing League as a player. I don't love casting it. So then it kind of came to what other games were there in the landscape at the time. Dabbled a little bit with PUBG, same kind of thing happened. They really cut back on the oceanic scene. Tried some Fortnite. Don't know anything about building. Definitely the crowd is way too young for me. They're all in nappies, Like, just kidding. Anyone who loves Fortnite, no drama.
I don't know if that you are kidding though, because I've played some Fortnite, and yeah, I'm like, am I getting flamed by a baby? Like,
Or you've played Valorant
They're
with
so
or
good
you've
at the
played Valorant
game.
with Fortnite players who have come from Fortnite, and you know they're Fortnite players because their voice box is a few octaves high. Like,
I like them though
that's it.
because they're the ones that set the precedent for when you're talking voice chat. And it's like, "Are you a 12-year-old boy?" I'm like, "Yes, yes,
Yes,
I am."
when you,
Don't
as
take
a
me for
woman,
being a girl.
when you have to try and convince the other people on your team that you are, yes, a man, but just like younger, like that's
Younger
why.
man, yeah. Or I try
Because
to just be
you
like,
might.
I try to do like
2020,
a
we don't
really
need to be having these discussions. Why can't everyone play? Please.
I used to have so much anxiety chatting, but like sometimes when I
Yeah.
play late night, I'm always just like push A. Like I try to like really like lower my voice and say like nothing else.
Unfortunately,
Oh,
like I
God.
find myself in the same position with Valorant at the moment. I've had a few toxic experiences with Valorant, and so sometimes when I'm like playing with a team, like just like when I'm solo queuing, essentially, I'll just play like B.
Yeah.
B.
It's weird. Why can't people just like accept it? Just like
Most people have actually been pretty good. I have seen and heard of a lot of friends having issues with using voice chat and also just like not being confident. But I have to say, when I am using my mic, generally I don't let on that I have a mic very early into the game. But I've noticed that if I'm just focusing on like what's actually happening in the game,
Mm.
so far I've been okay. So
Mm.
far.
Yeah.
well, the gaming community needs to get their shit together, and hopefully that stays the same because
Yeah.
there's always the thing that it's just like everyone can play games. Just let everyone play games and don't pester people. Only
I
only yell at
always
people if they're being assholes.
Mm.
Like
I've
that's
said
the
this
only condition.
before, and I've say this again. The real heroes are the people who talk first in like a solo queue game and
Yeah.
ask if they have a mic, and then it just eventually like maybe like 5 seconds later, yeah, I have a mic too, and then it's like we got this, we've got this.
Got it. Yeah, everyone's
This
in.
is comms. This is
Yeah.
also what explains why I'm in bronze and also why I'm in silver.
Oh, it's very hard without comms for sure.
It's 100%.
You mentioned that you spent like a good few years in HOTS. You got to travel the world with that, didn't
Mhm.
you? Like you went to I think Katowice in Poland, and
Yeah, you've done your
did you?
research. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
went to
did my
Katowice.
research. Did you ever go to BlizzCon?
And I didn't, unfortunately. So I
Yeah.
had another really good friend, still my best friend. In fact, I call him a brother. His name is Skimmy. You will see him on
Yeah.
the OPL. Shameless plug for him. Love him to bits. And I guess we were kind of competing for the same spot, which is fine because they always just had one OC representative. And he definitely was the better cast out of the both of us. He's taught me so much and I love him to bits. And I'm really glad to see he found a home on OPL and he's loving it. But yeah, so Skimmy got to go to BlizzCon and I just got to cheer him on. And maybe if HOTS went on for another year, perhaps next year would have been my year to attend BlizzCon. But I was still really, really happy and fortunate that I got to go to Katowice.
What's one of your like favorite experiences in esports? Like talk us through like that trip and like being able to just travel for esports because for a lot of people it's just like they might, especially in Australia, the idea of like going to LAN for an Australian player or even a caster is like huge. Like everyone
Yeah.
aspires to just even go to Sydney to play on LAN. Like especially if you're from Perth like me or from somewhere that's not Sydney. So what was it like to get flown 8,000 miles across halfway across the world?
Super cool. Felt like a dream. Like I know that in terms of I've done a lot of traveling back and forth. I'm now Melbourne based, but a lot like ESL studio is in Sydney, so there was a lot of back and forth. And I guess I was kind of sick of that travel. Like I think I went one time to Sydney. I think it was like 20 times. Like in fact, yeah, that was last year. Like I'd been to Sydney so much. I'm like, no, no more. But something about international was so sick. The flight was really long. We had to route through from Melbourne to Dubai to I think Warsaw to then Katowice. And I was just like, whoa, this is long. But I was fortunate enough that Maynard, the StarCraft 2 caster, we were actually on the, I don't know if ESL did on purpose or if it just worked out that way because not a lot of people were flying back from Katowice back to Australia. We were actually on the same return flight, which was awesome. So I had a travel buddy basically all of the way until the last bit when I went to Melbourne, he went to Adelaide, and they made the trip so fun. Like that is definitely my fondest memory. We were like watching movies together. We were just talking about like our different casts at Katowice. I was doing HOTS, he was doing StarCraft 2. And it was just unreal. Like it was really, really cool. As you said, dream come true.
Yeah, and I know Duck, you've had that experience traveling to overseas for esports.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, I haven't yet to do that, but
oh,
maybe one day.
one day it will
One
come.
day I'll be like you, big dogs.
You're so young. You've got ages. I hope so. But yeah, it's just that unreal experience. Like, did you also enjoy it and just really just live in the moment, I suppose?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when it was for me, so I've gone Thailand, I've gone South Korea, I've done Canada and the US as well.
Mhm.
All for writing. I've been very, very fortunate to have all those opportunities spring up. And especially like when I started doing the traveling, it was just after my 18th birthday. So it was like, what better way to spend those prime years than traveling doing something what I loved. And I'm still doing it. The only reason why I'm not traveling now is because the big CV has got me stuck at home. Uh,
Yes.
It's very, very, very disappointing. But I've always felt very fortunate with the times I've been traveling to esports, and I'm sure that you feel exactly the same, Vandy. It's a very, very surreal feeling where you move out from your home office where you've typed dozens of articles, hundreds of articles, and then you actually get to go out and do it on the field. It's something completely different and something that I love.
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
Yeah. Well, let's pivot things. We talked about a bit of Valorant at the top. Let's talk about the Ignition series. So, Valorant Esports is now starting to kick off. And you mentioned that there was like you've struggled with finding titles interesting to cast, like League, even though that you've loved playing them. Are you feeling the same with Valorant, or are you really, really super excited to jump into Valorant casting?
Really, really excited to jump into it. Battle Royales was basically like, yeah, where a lot of my experience worked. They play out a lot different, but they did still have that like first person shooter element or sometimes third person perspective, which was really, really cool. But the last first person shooter title that I covered was Overwatch. And that for me was mostly just due to didn't mind it, but again, it was just like the spectator mode that we had back then is nothing to what we had for Overwatch then, and then it was kind of competing with other opportunities. So I was just kind of like, I'm just going to stick with one game. So I always only try to cast games that I'm genuinely interested in and playing, because otherwise I find that you can't really just give that knowledge or experience for a cast, because casting is all about setting the narrative. It's all about, anyone could just look at the kill feed and understand what's going on, but you really want to set the narrative, the hype, the why are you interested in this game? Who are players to? You set the landscape, right? And that's why people love casters. You add that extra layer of entertainment on top of the players. So
And I guess,
if you're not playing it, you're not going to be able to do a good cast.
yeah, I think you like said it really perfectly. And I think would that to you be also one of the most challenging aspects of being a caster is creating that story?
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, we're still always working to refine ourselves, see where we can improve. So I'm actually going to be chatting to some of the players that competed in the last Community Cup to kind of get their insight. Hopefully, I can get some of the players in the Ignite Cup to just have a chat, because you learn so much from the players. Like, I'm not, unfortunately, at the top level, but I don't think that really matters as a caster, as long as you're willing to have these conversations and know that you don't know everything, right? You need to be open-minded and learning constantly, but it is a challenge, as you said, and it's one of the biggest things that you spend your entire life trying to hone.
Yeah, it's like when you look at casters ranks, like the number one thing that I bring up is Captain Flowers, one of the most loved play-by-play casters in League of Legends history. He's a bronze Skarner one trick. Like, you don't have to be a good player to be an amazing caster, and an
Yeah.
amazing player doesn't make a good caster. Like, they're two very, very distinct, different roles. Do you like find yourself falling a little bit like you said that your ranked antics aren't up to scratch, but like does it make it a lot easier to love a game that you're casting if you love to play it as well?
Absolutely, 100%. So again, why maybe I move away from some titles. Fortnite, unfortunately, I couldn't really play it much from season one because building was so inhibitive to me. I'm like, I only know how to shoot. I cannot Minecraft and shoot at the same time. It just does not work for me. Like, I'm like, I can't. These kids are building like the Taj Mahal in 2 seconds, and I'm like, what button is the up wall?
What?
You just see me with like my, in like Fortnite, when you try to build, you got like the paper and the pencil in your hand. I'm just like, how? Where
Yes,
is
that's me.
Yeah.
I'm literally just like,
Getting
I've got a pen. I'm like, where should my wall be? And I'm like, literally just taking like bullets to the face. I'm like, I don't know how to play this, but yeah, absolutely. Like, if you can't really openly enjoy a game or stick with the game, I think it does make it a lot more difficult. Not saying that you can't, but it would make it a lot harder because you'd be doing a lot of theory crafting. I feel to really patch in the gaps.
And with the Ignition series coming up, have you had a chance to look at some of the teams that are coming up, and some of the, like, obviously we mentioned in the news segment that EXO signed a lot of former CS pros. There's teams of Overwatch pros that I've seen in the Discord that have signed up. Have you got your eyes on any team in particular, or do you even just a particular group of players that you're excited to see what strategies they'll bring from their separate games into this Ignition series?
Yeah, definitely. I think that was like really interesting. Like the last bit of the question that you asked me, like players bringing mechanics or different ways of playing from their game into this game. Like I think Elfish guy, yeah, Jordan. He tweeted
Yeah.
out this really interesting thing about like how a CS player approached a Valorant player as opposed to how an Overwatch-minded player approached to play. And it was so cool to see like one was just relying on pure gun skills and the other one was relying on abilities. I was like, that's so cool to see that it really catered to both. So yes, I'm excited for that, but I do feel like at the end of the day, the CS players do have the advantage. That ability to just like instantly flick and line up to headshots, like that's just nutty. They've spent their whole life learning angles and stuff like that, and really that mentality does help. But the creativity from having like the Overwatch guys and gals, like that helps a lot. I'm not saying that their FPS skills are any less superior, but I'm just like the way the game plays to me feels a lot more Counter Strike. But really curious to see how it all goes out. In terms of any teams or players that I'm watching, basically whoever I can recognize from the Community Cup. I was fortunate enough to participate in the second one that they ran on OCE servers. So God Squad, Small Soldiers, they were first and second. Those rosters, if they stay the same, will be huge competitors. And I believe God Squad have won twice now, if I remember right. I think they also took out the title in the first Community Cup.
Yeah,
so really cool to see that NA plus OCE, they've been undefeated so far.
Yeah, so God Squad was that's the primary makeup of the new EXO clan roster. I think it's 3 of the 5 members of the God Squad went into EXO.
That makes sense, yeah.
And Small Soldiers, obviously, they were a bunch of CSGO, like Dick Stacey, one of the biggest names in Australian CSGO. Big names like Texter and Wizard, who were massive in when you're looking like back 2 to 3 years in the Australian CSGO scene. And then outside of that, you've got teams like the Overwatch guys, the Bumble Boys, who have flickered in with the CS community a little bit, but Signed and Noz are the 2 Overwatch players that spring to mind for me that have been really, really impressive. I'm just really excited to see what the early echelons of Valorant in Oceania looks like, because I think it's going to be really, really key for the uptake of the esports in the region. Because when you think about it, a lot of people we hear a lot about League in Australia, but CS:GO is Australia's biggest esport. Like, and you see that when you go to IEM Sydney every year, well, IEM Melbourne now. But
oh yeah, for sure.
I think, and it's a slightly bold prediction. I think that you're looking maybe 3 years down the line, and Valorant's probably going to be overtaking CS:GO as the biggest esport in the region, and we're just seeing like the start of it now. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah, it's so exciting to be kind of at the beginning of all this, and especially you casting Vandie, and like me, just obviously being a participant, a spectator, watching, also doing work with Snowball on like covering the Ignition series. So exciting. And I already, not that I have favorites, but I'm so excited to see EXO Clan. If you actually go on their Twitter, they have the most hype player reel. I think it's like pinned to the top of their profile, and it's
It's
just
like 2-minute play reel.
it's like a 2 minute. It is insane, like the plays that they were putting out. I know I'm so excited to see them play.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really exciting time in terms of Valorant esports. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say about the Ignition series other than the fact that you should definitely tune in when it starts tomorrow. Like 30 community casters, including Vandie herself, are going to be casting the Ignition series. But let's not end on that point. I want to ask you one more. I want to ask you one more question myself. I have no idea what Chelsea's got going on.
Sure.
What's your favorite casting moment?
Oh, favorite casting moment. It was definitely Heroes of the Storm. Skibby and I, like, if we can get another game where we could cast together, that would be the dream, I suppose, between us both. But I also have transitioned away from color casting more into play-by-play because that's what League of Legends needed. I've traditionally been more of a color caster, but I've actually enjoyed play-by-play a lot more, and I've been sticking with it for Valorant. But Skibby and I, we were doing a HOTS cast, and there was just a moment where I believe like there was just a team wipe, and this was like the game decider or something. And Skimmy just goes like, "We lose, boys, we lose." And I just look at him, and he looks at me, and we're like, "We lose." And then that moment just got clipped and shared, and we still have a clip of it, and we still mention it to each other. And it was just that moment. But we've done some stupid shit on cast, like where we both like teed up from the break. And because you have these huge lights sitting in front of you when you're casting, like huge lights, right? They have to get the lighting right. And so we just were like, I'm like, my eyes are. He's like, mine too. I'm like, I have sunglasses. Let's put them on. And then we just were like, what if we came back from the break wearing sunglasses, talking about like how they're on a hot streak? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So literally we just like turned around, totally normal. And my sunglasses, I didn't realize at the time, they were very unflattering for me. They made me look like a blind person. Like they were like just, you know, just actually, that sounds mean. Like, I love blind people, etc., etc. Like, but I'm just saying, like, they were just oversized. I have a tiny face, and they just did not do me any, like, it was not flattering.
Yeah.
And then he's just like memed me with that photo ever since. And I'm like, can you not? But it was just definitely a favorite moment of the time. Like, I loved it so much. I had such a laugh. Like, just doing fun stuff like that, just the little moments when you can really show some of your personality or just have these like memorable moments were really great.
And I think I see, like, because I just consume so much esports, it's like seeing those moments where you can actually see, like, a caster actually, break down the facade of professionalism for 1 second and, step away from the suit or, like, the fancy dresses and just, like, be funny and be genuine and just, like, laugh with them. And I think it's, like, honestly some of the best pieces of content out there. I know that
Yeah.
recently, not recently, but like OPL had like an out of context Twitter account, and it was just like
Yeah.
clips of just like all this rant. Like OPL produces some of
Yeah,
the
Nick
funniest
boy.
exactly. Um, a great example of just like casters who are just like killing it and just making like such relatable, funny content.
They're just all personalities and characters with themselves, and it's
Exactly.
just such a joy to be able to actually get a production that does let you incorporate some of it. I don't think the entire cast should be that, but I think OPL balances it really well, and that's why we all do tune in. These just fun personalities, and you've got Nick Boy basically being the glue trying to hold it all together.
Like the number one thing that pops into my mind now of like casters being personable on camera is
Mhm.
if you just look at any LEC production in the last 12 months and what
Yes.
like Quickshot and Frosk and Dracos have done with like you've got the Kia song, like I want the LEC back, absolute banger.
Mhm.
They've got the music video for On My Mind where they remade the Diplo music video, like with them dancing. Hilarious if you haven't seen it. But like LEC content creation is like
Unmatched.
amazing. It's just absolutely mind blowing how good it is, and it's great. It's a great look into like interesting people because at the end of the day, casters are all human. Like
Mhm.
everyone in esports is human. We've got different sides
Oh,
to us
sorry.
that we love to
I am
express.
robot.
I
Yeah.
can't relate. I'm a robot.
All I can do is talk about gaming, game only. This is gaming.
Just cast a face on.
Yes. I've just checked chat here, and Kogosaw's asking for more pink because apparently I'm missing out on pink. Well, I've got some pink here. Hold on, my Smash controller. That's pink. I've also,
Oh.
yeah, I can show it. Why not? I've also got my Miku figure. Yes, I'm a weeb.
Oh.
Oh my god, Smith, our production lead.
You're like,
Right.
Smithy, cut the
And-
cans! Cut the cans! Oh, Nico wants the keyboard as well. That is also pink.
Yeah,
there
you
you
don't
go.
see it, but there's
Ooh, I
actually
love
Ducky has
that.
the most pink out of
Mm.
myself and Vandy combined. It's just all off camera.
Oh my
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a man. Man. Anyways, I would like to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Vandy, for coming on.
No worries.
What
Thank
would
you
you have
so much for
anything
having me.
that you would love to plug?
Well, just watch me, I guess, on Twitch. I'll be covering the Valorant Ignition series. So that's twitch.tv with Vandie with an underscore. Otherwise, not really. Just plug just the important stuff happening around the world. Black lives do matter. So please, if you're interested in that, please do support it. I know it's off a lot of people's feeds, but it doesn't mean that the fight's any less irrelevant.
We love it. We love you.
Mm.
Very,
Amazing.
very, very well spoken. And we do love you, and there's a lot of love for you in chat, Vandy. It's been
Thank y'all.
absolutely amazing to have you on. Thank you so much. If you need to rehash that again, her Twitter is twitter.com/Vandy_. I'm pretty sure Nico is in
Nico's
chat
on it.
sharing her
Yeah.
links. He's on it. I love you, producer Nico. And would love to get you back on the show when you've done some absolutely amazing Valorant casting. Worlds 2021's on the horizon for you, Vandy.
100%.
That is
And
awesome.
can't wait to watch you this weekend and absolutely kill it.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciated being here tonight. Love the work coming out from Snowball Esports. Big, long-time fan for sure of everybody on the team.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your support. Have a good night and go tune into our cast tomorrow for the Valorant Ignition series, kicking off at 6:30 p.m. AEST. There's also 30 other community casters. Be sure to all chuck them a follow when they go live as well. Yeah, and just enjoy what the best Valorant Esports is on offer in Oceania to start off with.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Oh, she is absolutely wonderful, Vandie. She's one of she's an absolute professional. She has been in this scene for so long, one of the most established women in our scene, and we need to highlight how diverse our scene is at times because people can sometimes forget that it's not just a sausage fest out here.
It's not just all white men out there. I mean,
Mm.
despite what you see online, it's not. And like obviously, like hearing Vandie talk and her story and seeing all her proven history and how amazing her casting abilities are, like I've always wanted to get her on stream. Like it's just like amazing hearing the story.
Yeah, it's really, really good to hear all her stories as well, and she's got many of them. And you know, it's going to be absolutely amazing to see where she goes with Valorant. Now, to wrap up the Snowball show for this week, we're not doing What's Up with Ray. I'm very sorry for the What's Up with Ray apologists in chat. There will be no What's Up with Ray. What is up with Ray is cancelled for now. I'm not
Ray
sure how he's
needs
going
to
to feel
step
about
up
that.
the content. I went looking on his LinkedIn. I went looking on his Facebook. I went looking on his Twitter. I went on his Instagram. I went deep dive Ray to places where you shouldn't find Ray. And I didn't find that much content. So Ray, if you're out there listening, I see chat's like not happy. Please step up, tweet some weird shit, make some good content, and maybe you might make it on the show next week.
He might. In
He might.
replacement for What's Up with Ray, we've got some weekend esports to do. I'm going to do my best Judgy impersonation again while he's out fighting crime and figuring out where Dr. Disrespect lives. I'm going to run through it hella quick. Let's go. 2 minutes, let's go. So, starting off this weekend in esports, you can watch some esports straight after the Snowball show goes down with some PUBG PCS. The APAC region is on live right now, 3 Australian teams competing. Fury, Carnage, and Astra. They all need your love to try and break into the top 8. So go and watch them play against Asia's best straight after the stream ends. If you're looking forward to more things, you've got plenty to look forward to this weekend though. As we spoke multiple times throughout the show, the Valorant Ignition series is coming soon. So soon, in fact. You only need to wait less than 24 hours for it. Friday, 6:30 p.m. AEST is when all the action kicks off. The official stream is going to be hosted by Avril on twitch.tv/order_army. And there's going to be 30 community casters, including Vandie. Go show them some love. Go watch what the best Valorant Oceania has to offer right up until the finals on July 26th. We've also got 6 Masters playoffs kicking off tomorrow, starting from 5 p.m. AEST with Sinister vs. Okami. If you need a cheeky little 6 Masters coverage top up to figure out what the hell's been happening in the last 2 weeks, there are plenty of articles on snowballesports.com, powered by Legion Energy. Thank you so much to them for supporting our content for 6 Masters. And go check it out. Wonderful montage videos done up by Swifty. Wonderful articles written by me, if I say so myself. And that's enough for me gloating. OPL is also back tomorrow. 4 p.m. AEST. It kicks off with Order versus Legacy. Runs all throughout the weekend, Friday and Saturday. Be sure to check that out if you love your League of Legends. And if you're more of a CSGO fan, action's back for the AUNZ Champs Season 11 on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. AEST with Paradox versus Ground Zero, while the upper bracket final between Rooster and Avant Gaming is on Wednesday at 10 p.m. AEST. And
I
that's
love
the
watching you
esports
do
you
that,
should watch
Zach.
this weekend.
I just see you rattle it off, and I'm like, wow, he's so good.
So dreamy.
Wow.
Anyways, that is the Snowball show for this week. Thank you so much to Vandie coming on. Thank you so much to Chelsea for making her host debut. You did a wonderful job. Always love chatting with you. We got to
I
share our
know. It just
Discord
feels.
banter live with Twitch viewers.
I know. I'm gonna like look back on this later, be like, why did I say that?
It's all right. You know,
I
first
had
show
fun.
nerds, but
You
you
didn't.
absolutely killed it. And if you had fun,
I
that's what
had
the
fun.
Snowball show is all about. We're here Thursday night. Tomorrow's Friday, and after Friday's the weekend. That's what
There
we're
you
here
go.
for. We need to make your
If
week
Nico,
that
if
much better.
Nico falls out, if Judge falls out, if Isaac falls out, you got me. You know,
We've got backup. We've got backup
we
galore.
got backups on backups.
Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in to the Snowball Show this week. It's been wonderful to see you guys interacting in chat. If you want to catch more esports content, be sure to check out snowballesports.com. Also, be sure to check us out on Twitter at Snowball Esports. And we'll hopefully see you next week. See you guys.
Thanks for watching.